I'm sitting in my car outside our suburban home on Maple Street, hands shaking so badly I can barely hold my phone. The notification just came through, a text from my wife Ashley that says, "Tomorrow you'll transfer your savings to my mother to cover her debt, or I'm moving in with her." $47,000. Our entire emergency fund, gone, just like that. I read it 3 times thinking maybe I misunderstood, but the words don't change. My chest feels like someone's sitting on it, and I can't catch my breath. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not to us. Not to me and Ashley. Let me back up. 3 years ago, life was good. Really good. I'm Michael Chen, 38 years old, senior project manager at a mid-size construction firm here in Columbus, Ohio. We bought our house, a classic 4-bedroom colonial with black shutters and a detached garage, for $520 grand back when interest rates were better. The mortgage is manageable. I've got a 401k that's actually growing. My credit score hovers around 785. I'm the guy who pays his bills on time, who mows the lawn every other Saturday, who doesn't miss Thanksgiving dinner with the extended family. Ashley and I got married 12 years ago. We met at Ohio State. She was studying business administration. I was in construction management. She was smart, driven, beautiful. Still is, actually. When we got married, we had a plan. Build equity, save money, maybe have kids later. We've done most of that. We have a golden retriever named Max, who sleeps on the couch whenever he thinks we're not looking. We have friends we see on Friday nights, a life that feels solid. Ashley works in marketing for a healthcare company downtown. She makes decent money, maybe 90 grand a year, and she's good at her job. She's organized, detail-oriented, the kind of person who color codes her calendar and knows exactly what's in our pantry at any given moment. Or at least, that's who I thought she was. Her mother, Linda, lives about 30 minutes away in a smaller house in Worthington. Linda's been divorced twice, once from Ashley's father, once from her second husband. She's always had money problems. Always. I've heard the stories. Bad investments, a failed business venture, poor decisions with credit cards. Linda's the kind of person who calls asking to borrow money, then acts offended when you say you can't afford to help. I've never liked her much, if I'm being honest. She's nice enough to my face, but there's always this underlying tension, like she blames me for something I don't understand. A few months ago, maybe around August, Ashley mentioned that her mom was having some financial troubles. Nothing new, right? I listened, nodded, said something sympathetic. Linda had apparently made some bad real estate deals, something about a property in Kentucky she'd co-signed for. I didn't ask too many questions. In hindsight, that was my mistake. "It's not your responsibility," I remember saying to Ashley one night in bed. "Your mom needs to figure out her own financial situation." Ashley didn't argue. She just said, "I know, I just hate seeing her stressed." That was the end of it, or so I thought. Work's been good. We just landed a contract to renovate a commercial building downtown, worth about $2.3 million. It's a big deal. My boss, Derek, pulled me aside last month and told me I'm on track for a promotion to operations director. That would mean a raise, probably another 20 grand a year, maybe more with bonuses. I've been thinking about what that means. Maybe we finally take that trip to the Caribbean we've talked about for years. Maybe we invest in some rental properties. The future looked bright. Max barks from inside the house, pulling me back to the present moment, back to this text message that's rewriting everything. I check the time. It's 4:47 p.m. Ashley should be home in about 40 minutes. I need to figure out what to say. I need to understand how we got here. I need to know what Linda's debt actually is and why my wife thinks she can just demand that I drain our savings. My phone buzzes again. Another text. This time it's from Ashley's mother, Linda. "Michael, I know Ashley told you. I'm so grateful for your help. You're a good man. I promise I'll pay you back." That's when I realize something's been happening behind my back, something bigger than a casual conversation about Linda's money problems, something that involves my wife, my money, and a deadline that starts tomorrow. My hands are still shaking when I turn the key in the ignition. I drive home in silence, my mind spinning. The 40-minute commute from Ashley's marketing office downtown normally flies by, but today, each traffic light feels like an accusation. I grip the steering wheel so hard, my knuckles turn white. $47,000, our entire emergency fund, the money we'd saved for years, dollar by dollar, paycheck by paycheck. When I pull into the driveway, Ashley's car is already there, a silver Lexus we financed last year. Her mother helped with the down payment, something I should have questioned at the time. Max barks excitedly as I unlock the door, completely unaware that everything is about to explode. Ashley's in the kitchen, wearing her work blouse and black slacks. She's making pasta, and the smell of garlic and olive oil fills the space. She turns when she hears me, and for just a second, I see something flicker across her face. Guilt, maybe, or defiance. It's gone before I can read it. "Hey, babe," she says, her voice carefully light. "Long day?" I don't answer. I pull out my phone and show her the text message. Her face goes pale. "We need to talk," I say quietly. "Right now, sit down." She sets down her wooden spoon. Her hands are shaking slightly as she sits at the kitchen table. I remain standing, unable to sit, unable to do anything but stare at her. "How long has this been happening?" I ask. "How long have you been planning to steal from me?" "Michael, No, you don't get to explain. You get to answer the question. How long?" She swallows hard. "Since August, when Mom told me about the debt." "And you decided, what, that it was my responsibility? That my money was yours to give away?" "It's not like that," Ashley says, her voice rising slightly. "She's my mother. She's desperate. The debt is almost $130,000 total, Michael. She could lose everything." I laugh, but there's no humor in it. It's the kind of laugh that comes from shock and disbelief. 130,000? And you were only asking for 47? "That's all we have liquid," she says quietly. "I was hoping maybe you'd get the promotion, and we could help with more later, and—" "Stop." I hold up my hand. "Just stop. You've been lying to me for 3 months. 3 months, Ashley. Every single day you looked me in the eye and lied. You went to work, came home, slept next to me, and never said a word." "Because I knew you'd react like this," she snaps, standing up now. "Because you've never understood what it's like to be worried about your parent. You've always had it easy. Your parents are fine. They don't need anything. But my mom—" "Your mom needs to face the consequences of her own decisions," I say, my voice cold. "Just like every other adult on this planet. I'm not responsible for Linda's poor choices. And you had absolutely no right to make me responsible without asking me." "So what? You're just going to let her lose her house?" "Yes," I say, and I mean it. If that's what happens, then that's what happens. That's the result of her actions, not mine. And definitely not mine and yours together. You don't get to volunteer my money." Ashley's eyes fill with tears. "You're being cruel." "I'm being realistic. There's a difference." I grab my wallet and keys off the counter. "I'm going for a drive. Don't text me. Don't call me. I need to think." I leave her standing there, and the look on her face, that mixture of anger and desperation, stays with me as I drive through the Columbus suburbs with no destination in mind. My phone buzzes twice. I ignore it. Then a third time. I finally check at a red light. The first 2 are from Ashley. "Michael, please, let's talk about this." And then, "I'm sorry, I really am." The third is from Linda. "Michael, I know this is hard, but family is everything. Please." I turn my phone off. The next 3 days are a nightmare. I sleep in the guest bedroom. Ashley tries to talk to me multiple times. She cries. She apologizes. She tries to explain Linda's situation in more detail. Something about a co-signed mortgage on a rental property in Kentucky that went south, about Linda's ex-husband refusing to help, about mounting legal fees. I don't care. Or rather, I do care, but not in the way she wants me to. I care about the fact that my wife made a major financial decision without me. I care about the fact that she was willing to destroy our future to solve her mother's problem. I care about the fundamental breach of trust. On the fourth day, I call my brother-in-law, David. He's married to Ashley's cousin, Jennifer, and he's a divorce attorney in Cincinnati. I don't want to divorce Ashley, not yet anyway, but I need legal advice. Michael, David says when he picks up the phone, everything okay? Not really, I say. I need to ask you some things about marital finances, hypothetically. We talk for 20 minutes. David explains that in Ohio, marital assets are divided equitably, not necessarily 50-50. He explains that if Ashley transferred money without my consent, it could potentially be traced and recovered, especially if she can't prove it's a legitimate marital expense. He suggests I document everything: the texts, the conversations, the dates. The big question, David says carefully, is whether you want to save this marriage or prepare for the worst-case scenario. I don't have an answer for him. Not yet. That evening, I finally confront Linda. I drive to her house in Worthington without telling Ashley. Linda answers the door in a cardigan and slacks, her hair perfectly styled. She looks worried, which gives me some small satisfaction. "Michael," she says, attempting a smile, "I didn't expect to see you."
Come in.
Her living room is exactly what I'd expect, a mid-century modern aesthetic that costs more than it appears, family photos on the walls, everything organized and clean. Linda's always been good at appearances. "I'm not staying," I say. "I want to know exactly what this debt is, all of it, no more vague explanations." Linda sits down slowly, like she's suddenly aged 10 years. She tells me the story. A commercial property in Louisville, Kentucky. She and her second ex-husband, Brad, had invested in it together 5 years ago. They were supposed to flip it. The market crashed. They got stuck holding the bag. Brad walked away, and Linda's left on the hook for almost $130,000. The lender is threatening legal action. She could lose her house in Worthington if she doesn't settle. "Why didn't you just tell me this directly?" I ask. "Why did you go through Ashley?" "Because I was ashamed," Linda says quietly, "and because I knew you'd say no." At least she's honest about that. "You're right," I say. "I would say no, and I'm still saying no. You made an investment decision without proper due diligence. That's on you, not on me, not on Ashley." "Michael," Linda starts. "No," I say, standing up. "I'm done listening. You've manipulated my wife into going behind my back. You've put her in an impossible position between her husband and her mother, and you've destroyed my trust in her, maybe permanently. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to call a bankruptcy attorney. You're going to explore your options, Chapter 7, Chapter 13, whatever. And you're not going to contact me again about this. The only person you can talk to about money is Ashley, and that's only because she's your daughter. But I'm out. Completely out." Linda's face crumples. "You're a good man, Michael. I thought—" "Stop," I say. "You don't get to flatter me now. You made your choice. Live with it." I leave her sitting there and drive back home. When I arrive, Ashley's waiting in the driveway. She's been crying. Her eyes are red and puffy. "I talked to Mom," she says. "I told her I can't do this anymore, that I won't ask you for the money." I nod slowly. "Okay. Is that all you have to say?" "No," I say. "I need to know something. If I'd said yes, if I'd given Linda the $47,000, would you have felt better? Would you have felt like you'd solved her problem?" Ashley shakes her head. "Probably not. There's more debt. There's always more." "Exactly," I say. "You were trying to fix something that's fundamentally unfixable, and you were willing to wreck our marriage to do it." "So what does that mean?" Ashley asks, her voice breaking. "Are you leaving me?" I look at her, really look at her, and I see the woman I married. I see the woman who color codes her calendar and loves her mother despite everything. I see someone who made a terrible, impulsive decision because she was scared and desperate. "I don't know yet," I say honestly. "I need time. I need to understand how we got here. I need to figure out if I can trust you again." We stand there in the driveway, and I can hear Max barking inside the house, can smell the October air, can feel the weight of everything that's broken between us. "I'm sorry," Ashley whispers. I'm so sorry. I know, I say, but sorry doesn't fix this. The next 2 weeks are the coldest I've ever felt toward my wife. We exist in the same house like ghosts, speaking only when necessary. I sleep in the guest bedroom. I eat dinner alone. At work, I throw myself into the commercial building project, staying late most nights. Derek notices I'm more focused than usual. He doesn't ask questions. I start seeing a therapist, Dr. Patricia Morrison, at a practice downtown. I tell her everything, the ultimatum, the lies, the breach of trust. She listens carefully and asks me what I want. I don't know, I tell her. I love her, but I don't trust her, and I don't know if those two things can coexist anymore. Trust is rebuilt through consistency over time, Dr. Morrison says, but first, you both need to acknowledge what actually happened, not just the money, the decision-making pattern, the secret-keeping, the manipulation. I recommend that Ashley see a therapist too. She agrees, which is something. Then, one night in late October, something shifts. Ashley comes into the guest bedroom where I'm reading and sits on the edge of the bed. I did something, she says, and I need to tell you about it. My stomach drops. What? I talked to a financial advisor, she says, a woman named Karen Westbrook. She specializes in debt restructuring and family finance issues. I asked her to help me understand what Mom's options actually are. Real options. Not just, Michael will save her options. I wait for her to continue. Mom's situation is worse than I thought, Ashley says quietly. She has 6 different creditors. The Kentucky property is just one. Karen thinks bankruptcy is probably her only option, and if that happens, it might be okay. It'll destroy her credit for 7 years, but she'll be able to keep her house. She'll have to make some changes, but she won't lose everything. Okay, I say slowly. I realize now that I was trying to fix something that wasn't actually fixable. Ashley continues. I thought if I could just get enough money from you, I could make it all go away. But that's not how debt works. That's not how life works. And I put our marriage at risk for something that wouldn't have even solved the problem. I listen to her, and I hear genuine realization in her voice, not just apology, understanding. I talked to Mom too, Ashley says. I told her that I can't be her financial savior, that I love her, but I love you more, that our marriage comes first. What did she say? I ask. She cried. But I think she understood. Karen's going to help her with the bankruptcy process. Mom's already started talking to creditors about restructuring some of the debt. I set down my book. Ashley, I need you to understand something. This can't happen again. You can't make major financial decisions without me. You can't hide things. We're a partnership. That means we decide things together. I know, Ashley says, and I'm going to prove it to you, however long it takes. She reaches for my hand, and after a moment, I let her take it. The next 6 months are slow and difficult, but they're also genuine. Ashley and I start couples therapy with a therapist named Dr. James Chen, no relation to me, though we joke about it. We learn how to communicate about money without defensiveness. We establish new boundaries with Linda. We rebuild, brick by brick. The promotion comes through in January. I become operations director, with a raise to $125,000 a year. Ashley and I talk about what that means for us. We decide to increase our savings rate instead of spending more. We rebuild the emergency fund we almost lost. We plan for the future together. Linda does file for bankruptcy in March. It's humiliating for her, but it works. She restructures her debt, keeps her house, and gets a fresh start. She also stops calling me asking for money, which is the best outcome of all. By summer, things with Ashley feel almost normal. Not quite the same as before. There's a maturity to our relationship now, a harder-won understanding, but it's stronger, more real. One evening in June, we're sitting on the back porch with Max, watching the sun set over our suburban street. Ashley's holding a glass of wine. I'm holding a beer. Thank you for not giving up on us, she says. Thank you for actually fighting for us, I reply, for doing the work. I think I've learned something, Ashley says. I can't save my mother. I can't solve her problems. All I can do is love her and set boundaries. The rest is up to her. I nod. That's wisdom you had to earn. The hard way, Ashley agrees. We sit there as the sky turns orange and then purple, and I think about how close we came to losing everything. How one wrong decision, one moment of desperation, nearly destroyed a 12-year marriage. How trust, once broken, takes an enormous amount of work to rebuild. But here we are, still here, still together. Max lays his head on my lap, and for the first time in months, I feel like we're going to be okay.